All right, it is 7 p.m. right here in Canada, Toronto, and you're radio. This is the show that you've been waiting for, the voices of the millennials with me, Anna Maria AMISSAH. Many thanks for joining us. The show is the platform where I always tell you, where we get to voice out our concerns, aspirations of our generations, the millennials. And I'm so excited. And I am your regular host. Tonight, on the Voices of the Millennials, we're going to have a very interesting topic. We are going to talk about balancing work life and family life. And in the studio with me is a young woman has been a corporate woman. She is a family woman. She is a CEO. She is a jack of all trades, actually, because she's done a lot in the corporate world and she's doing a lot on her own as well. And she's in the person of Sussie Elizabeth Amoah. She'll be joining us in the studio. And we'll be talking about balancing work life with family life. So I welcome you, Susie. Let me just welcome you before I even introduce whatever else we're going to do on the show tonight. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Anna, how are you doing too?
I'm good. I'm good. Susie here is my old colleague in Ghana. We were all at the TV station, so we've worked together. We've formed a great team, and it's been so nice to reunite tonight on the Voices
Yeah.
of the Millennials. So tonight we are going to talk about balancing work life with family life, and I did some scooping on the internet to get like the definition as to how it is written in the book. So balancing work life. Let me go straight into it. Balancing work and family life, according to Google, refers to effectively managing demands and responsibilities of both areas to maintain overall well-being and satisfaction. It involves creating a harmonious integration where neither work nor family life is neglected. Now, work and family life are an integral part of an individual's experience, each with its own set of demands and rewards. Successfully balancing the two requires carefully planning, effective communication, and a supportive environment. Understanding the dynamics of both can lead to a more fulfilling and harmonious life. Now, this is the definition that my scooping on the internet did for me. But tonight we are going to see what real life looks like when it comes to balancing, work life and family life. And Susie here is in the good position to tell us how it is going because like I told you, she's done so much in the corporate world as well on her own. She's done a lot, being able to balance that, especially being a mom of two children. And Susie, I'm going to throw the ball right in your court. Tell me, how was it from the very beginning? When you go to school, you come out, you have a plan, you have a plan on how it is going to go like. When I finish school, I'm going to send an application here and I'm going to start working this way and then I'll go that way and all of that. How was it for you? Mapping out your future right from school.
Where do I even start from? So I think for me, before I even entered the university, I always knew I wanted to do like run a business one day, and then also work in corporate Ghana. It was just part of my plan. So the idea was that I get into business school and then read accounting, charter as an accountant. I had all that plan. Unfortunately or fortunately, I couldn't get into the business school, so I read economics and information studies. And with that, I realized that I enjoyed PR, public relations. So now I changed my mind. And I was like, you know what? Since I'm quite outspoken and I like to interact with people, I think this is where I would thrive. So then I changed my mind and said, you know what? When I'm done with school, after service, I'll do my master's and apply for a job with maybe a PR company and all that. So that was the plan. When I was on campus, like that was the plan that when I finish with my service, I'll do that. Yeah.
Right.
Hi.
So we are experiencing some technical challenges here, but we are going to thrive through. So yes, you completed, you did all the courses, you did all the changes in the middle, and then after school, what was the first job that you landed? Did it go in line with the changes that you made?
So should I say, would you consider national service as a first job, or you mean first job after national service?
Well, in the Ghanaian context, yes, national service can land you into a job. It's a job anyway. You get paid, so it's a job. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess then you know the national service is when I was a news anchor, and let me say I was a broadcast journalist because I was a news anchor at the same time. I would go on the field and bring in stories and all that. I did that, and after that, I decided to leave the place for reasons I think won't be necessary for us to talk about here. So I left, started my own business whilst I was looking for a job. I started my own business whilst I was looking for a job. I wanted, like I said, I wanted to do PR. So
Okay.
even whilst I was doing my national service, I was still sending out
Uh huh.
uh, like letters to PR companies. I remember I even had about two interviews whilst I was doing my service. And as you know, the problem was experience. Like they wanted someone with experience, so I didn't land those jobs. But then when I came home and I started my own business for a while, I finally got a job. And yeah, PR was really part of what I was doing, so I loved it because it was communications and marketing, so like PR is part of it, and I enjoyed it, honestly speaking. It was a great experience for me, and my immediate boss had so
Yeah.
much experience. So it was like I finally have, the opportunity to learn and be the PR guru that I want to become one day. Yeah. Hi Anna, can you hear me?
So Susie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly well.
Okay. So in after national service, where did the broadcasting job come into play? Was it in between or after your marketing and public relations job?
No, so it was just for the national service period. That's where I did the news
Okay.
anchoring. Basically, yes, it was just for that period. And I must say, I enjoyed it as well. I enjoyed, reading the news and all that. Sometimes I feel like maybe I should have stayed a little longer also to get more experience from there as well. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, but at that age, it's like you're in a hurry, like
Mm,
you're on the move. So
okay.
you feel like someone is wasting your time. You just want to move on to like the next
Yeah.
serious person because you are young. You have so much ahead of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So right after the broadcasting job, you moved on to get a marketing and public relations job, and then
Yes.
it looks like you changed jobs a lot of times. Was there
Yes.
one job that you settled in to say that okay, this is the kind of job that I'd want to stay for a while, gain my experience, and then move on to the next one?
Yes, so that was the first job, the marketing and communications job I mentioned, and I really loved that job. Looking back, I think it's the place where I really enjoyed working, and I felt like this is what I really want to do. But unfortunately, my immediate boss left. Work politics and all that. She left, and I was left
Okay.
alone. So being like just a young girl just entering like the job market and all, there was so much politics, like people want your position because like it was a lot. It was a lot going on. And then again, like I said, I realized all the
Okay.
politics that was happening, and I felt like, you know what, I'm no longer happy because now you go to work and you are not fulfilled. You are not learning from anyone. There's like they expect so much from you.
Mm.
Meanwhile, you're also new at this thing. And my boss, who
Mm-hmm.
had so much experience, I was learning so much from her. I always look back and I'm like, I really wish she had stayed longer, because if she had stayed, I would also have stayed. So eventually I realized I wasn't fulfilled any longer there. There was so much going on with work politics and all that. So I just decided to resign. And then again, you are young. So, you have so much ahead of you. And there's an interesting thing with when I was working there. I told you I wanted to do my master's in communications after school when I realized I loved PR. I had applied to do the master's. And when I started working at this new place, just a week after I started working there, I got a letter to come and pursue my master's. So I had to choose, like, do I stay here or do I go and do the masters? And I feel like, this is a place where I'm going to gain experience. Like, for me, experience stops it. I'm not saying education isn't good. Education is very good, it's very important. But I feel like I could always go back to school no matter how old I was. But the job market is such that when you get a certain age, you are no longer attractive. Like they would want someone who is younger and all that. So I decided to just stay at this new place
Yeah.
and then let go of the admission. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, should I have? But then I have no regrets. I mean, there's always more time. So
Mm,
yeah,
yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. And so far as you don't have any regrets, that's the
no,
good thing, a good
none at
feeling.
all.
So at what point did it was time for the young me to consider starting a family?
I
What was the ideal age? I know that in Ghana, there's actually an there's actually an age where the pressure starts from all sides, society, family, and all of that. So how did it all happen for you?
So, like you said, in Ghana here, you expected to like marry around the ages of 25, 26, 27. Even if you don't want it, like people around you are looking forward to that. But interestingly, I wasn't really in a hurry to settle down. Like when I finished school, my my mindset was, you know what, let me work, do my masters, get experience, be an independent woman before I marry and start having children. So I gave myself the age of 30. That it's funny because most women or most young women at that time would say, hey, no, 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 no. I had friends who would say, I want to get married at the age of 23, 24, and all that. But for me, I was like, if I get married by the age of 30, I'm okay with that. And that was the honest truth. But interestingly, I got married at the age of 26 because it's like the opportunity had presented itself, and I was like, are you going to wait and do tell yourself I'm going to school, I want to get money and all that you get it. So far as I was working, I knew I had something doing. I felt like, okay, if the opportunity had come, let me just get married. So interestingly, it was 26, although that was not my initial plan. I thought 30 years was okay for me. Yeah.
Mm. So at this point, it all happened for you nicely, and then you had to make the decision between your filling your checklist by going through with your plan of doing your masters, getting all your money, and then hitting 30, or just give in to the opportunity that had presented itself. At that point, did you realize that, okay, you are a career woman and getting married comes along with a lot of, responsibilities, and then comes childbearing, but you decided to still go for it. So, did you consider how that was going to affect your work life, the corporate you?
I don't think I really thought so much into that because around me, I'd seen a lot of people who had families and were still working. So for me, I didn't think it was going to stand in the way of anything. Honestly speaking, I didn't think so. I knew I'd get married. The plan was we'll get married, and then 2 years later, we would start having kids. But I always say that personally, I'm a Christian, so there are certain things that we just leave into the hands of God. It so happened that I got married in December. By January or February, I was already pregnant, and it wasn't planned or anything. But the initial idea was that we would get married, and then 2 years later start having children,
Mm.
because I wanted to work for a while, gain experience again. I felt like I was young. I was just 26, so I had more time to work and all that. But the kid came, and it changed things, but it's all good, because then again, that experience also,
Everything.
yeah, I feel like it was
Everything.
that
It changed
experience that,
everything.
yes, it did. It changed everything, because now I noticed that at work, my boss wasn't so happy with me that I had, become pregnant. And, you can't blame her, because she feels like, when you become pregnant, you are less productive. And it's no fault of ours. It's
All
just,
right.
it comes with
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy. Yeah. So she felt I wasn't going to be productive, so she wasn't really supportive of the whole thing, and there was so much going on there. So I had to resign from the place when I was 7 months pregnant. I had to resign, and that was not the plan from the beginning. That I would work, get pregnant, and resign.
The plan.
I knew I'd get No, it wasn't the plan. I knew I'll definitely get pregnant one day whilst I was working, but the idea was
Do
I'd
you
get
think
pregnant.
that do you think that the corporate do you, do you think that the corporate world is accommodating enough of women's type of cycle that they go through as they get married and they get into the family life? Do you think that the corporate world is well enough accommodating of women?
I would say yes, and I would say no, because I've heard positive stories. I've heard positive stories from friends, people I know personally, who got pregnant, who were also in my situation. Like they didn't plan to get pregnant, they got pregnant, and their bosses were so supportive of the whole, experience. They were with them from the first day till they delivered. They understood what they were going through and everything. They had the full support. So that's how I would say yes. I remember at that time I had a colleague who told me her sister-in-law actually landed her first job when she was about 8 months pregnant. And I was like, "Are you serious?" And she was like, "Yes." She went, did the interview with her, big bump and everything. And they were like, "You know what? You are qualified. We are going to employ you. We know you'll be giving birth in 2, 3 months' time, and that's fine. But we like you, we want you. So for now, you can even work from home and all that. You get it." But unfortunately, you won't get that everywhere. You won't get that everywhere. And I feel like we'll get there
That's
someday, because
amazing.
these days, yeah, women are speaking up. Women are speaking up. Women are talking about these things. We have men who understand better what's happening, because of education, enlightenment, and all that. So I feel like with time things will get better. Unfortunately for me, I didn't get that support from my boss, but I know of others who have had that support right here in Ghana. Yeah, so I mean, we just hope it gets better one day.
Mm, mm. Well, so yeah, a lot of places do have their accommodating systems, and we can only hope that it gets better. Listeners, you're tuned in to Love Bay Radio. This is the voices of the millennials, and we are talking about balancing work life with family life. We are experiencing some technical challenges. We are working on them, and we hope that we can go through the show successfully. So, pardon us if you can see some sort of, breakages in the conversations in Ghana. In the midst of all this, in the midst of you starting your family, resigning from certain jobs along the line, you still went ahead to create a business, and it's cleaning 360, right?
360 cleaning
Cleaning 360
services.
services. Tell us
No.
how the dream to go into the cleaning industry came to you and how it.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Okay,
me?
so I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. So I was saying that in the midst of your journey, okay.
Yeah.
So in the midst of your journey, you know, resigning from your jobs and getting onto other jobs, you still came up with your own business, Cleaning 360 Services, 360 Cleaning Services. And
Yes.
I'm asking you, how did it all start? How did the idea come to you? How did you get into the cleaning industry?
So this actually started even before national service. As soon as, or was it, no, right after
Okay.
national service, sorry. So right after we completed our national service here in Ghana, I'm just the type of person who can sit idle doing nothing. So whilst we're looking for, employment and all that, my best friend and I decided to go into the, at that time it wasn't cleaning. We wanted to help people. It was more of like an agency, help people get house helps and nannies and all that. That was the idea. But we were so young. I think we were about 23, 24 years then. So when we started and we were faced with so many challenges, it sort of put us off. But naturally, I'm someone who likes cleaning. Even I remember, my roommates would always talk about how every time you'd come to my room, my bed was laid. Like I would like to arrange my shoes under the bed
Okay.
nicely and all that. So it's something I love, probably because my mom is a nurse, so the house had to be in order, and my big sister, she's very neat, very organized. So I grew up in that kind of environment. So I knew that if I get into business one day, probably will be that. Then again, we decided to go into it because we also realized that there were so many young people who had finished maybe JSS, SS, who didn't have jobs to do in Ghana here, like where we lived. And unfortunately, when they are just there idle, they end up with men who get them pregnant, waste their time, and then their lives get destroyed, basically.
Right.
So for us, it was an opportunity for us to also get these people jobs, to earn some income, to become independent. At the same time, also, running a business and making profits and all that. But I think one of the main reasons why we went into it because we felt like, look, we can make an impact here. We can give these people jobs to do to prevent the whole teenage pregnancy thing, because it was really something I didn't like to see young people growing up. I knew people personally who, at the age of 15, 16, when they finish GSS or SS, they end up getting pregnant because there's nothing to do. But if you have this kind of job with a cleaning, you need little to no qualification, just a little of training to be a nanny or like to be a house help. So that was how it started. But we did it for a few months. We were so young, we didn't have any experience. We were met with so many challenges. If I'm to talk about it, we are not living here today. We were met with so many challenges. So we decided to just stop
Mhm.
and go and look for, employment. And then the idea was that one day when we are older, we have our own, we've made enough money,
Okay.
when we made enough money, then we would come back. So that's what happened. So when I was 7 months pregnant and I quit my job, with at that time with my first child, I quit my job, stayed home for almost it was more than a year, because I started 360 cleaning services when my firstborn was almost 1 year. Yeah, I think she was just about turning 1 year, and then I decided to start it with my best friend. But life, life happens. Like we're just discussing here, the whole having a family and all that. So she realized she wanted to just take a back seat. So but I told myself I wasn't going back to corporate because, starting a business is not easy. When you start a business, you are not going to make money. You are rather going to like invest money. So
Mm-hmm.
I told myself I wasn't going back to work for anyone again. Now I had a kid, and maybe because that 1 year period I spent it alone with my daughter, I enjoyed it. I realized I enjoyed being a mother. I was fulfilling and all. And going back to corporate meant I I wouldn't have all that time with her again. I would have to get a nanny, and all that. But I wanted to be there. I wanted to wake up in the morning, get her ready for school, be very present in her life. So I just decided that, I'm going to start this business. And it wasn't easy. There were times when I wanted to quit and go and look for a job, because it wasn't easy. The money wasn't coming, but I still persevered. Yeah, basically,
Mm.
and we are here today. Yeah.
So, so how is so from what you are telling me, 360 cleaning services is more than 10 years,
I won't say
or it's
that
10 years?
because no, I won't say that because we stopped. We stopped the first. We started as a nanny and house help agency.
Okay,
Okay.
you
And
stopped
then,
along the line.
yes, we
Mm.
stopped along the line. Then I started again in 2019. That's so 360 actually started in 2019. But what I mean is I had like a bit of experience from 2014
Mm.
when I finished service because I had now I had learned how to recruit, get how do you call it, get clients. I knew what I was now getting myself into, dealing with workers, the ups and downs and all that. I had an idea. Yeah, so 360 cleaning services started in
Mm-hmm.
2019. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. So how has it been managing, the things that you do as a business and your life as a wife, as a mother? How have you been managing? How would you rate this position that you are in now?
It'll be difficult for me to rate it myself, but I would say it's not easy because when you're a mom, I feel like whether you like it or not, being a mom slows you down a little. It slows you down because I always tell my husband that look, if I were single, 360 cleaning services would be doing much much better than it's doing now because I don't have to sit. For instance, I would always be out there looking for business. I would be out there supervising every job. I would be out there recruiting,
Exactly.
every time. But
Yeah.
then I have two kids now. Okay, one is a toddler, and bear in mind that before these kids come, you get pregnant. And when you get pregnant, it slows you down. So anytime you get pregnant, it
Exactly.
slows you down. You can't do so much, whether you like it or not. That's just how it is. You can't do so much when you get pregnant. So it
Mm-hmm.
slows you down. And then when these kids are born, you go on your own maternity leave because I also believe in exclusive breastfeeding. So just imagine for 6 months, I'm exclusively breastfeeding these babies. I can't really do much. So you have to depend on other people. And when you're running a business and it's a small business, it's always best when you are fully there and involved. Unfortunately, again, for this part of
Mm-hmm.
the world, in Ghana here, if you're running a business and you decide to just hand it over to people, they'll mess you up. So sometimes, there's been days when I wouldn't sleep because maybe your kid is not feeling well, but you have a job the next day, you have to show up. And your kid isn't feeling so well, but so you won't go to bed, you won't be able to sleep well, but you still have to show up at the client's house because the client has paid money and you need to deliver and deliver well. There are times when you are so tired because your toddler has stressed you out the whole day, the whole week, but you still have to show up and work. You have to put in your all because you believe in what you are doing and you want the best out of what you are doing. So honestly, it's not easy. That's why I always tell people that they feel like being an entrepreneur is glamorous, like running your own business. Hey, yeah, you have a, you are married, you have your kids, and you run your own business. You don't have to answer to anyone. And I'm like, no, it's not like that. It's actually quite difficult because if, for instance, you're working for someone and your daughter falls ill, you can just tell them, my daughter fell ill today, I won't be able to show up, you know. But in my case, the client has paid money. The client doesn't care your daughter fell ill.
So
You need to
it's
show up.
not as rosy,
No,
right?
it's
It's
not. And
not
it's
as
not
rosy as it
glamorous.
looks.
No, it's not at all, especially when you have little kids involved. It's not. It's not. So if you are not called to do it, or I feel like you shouldn't. Don't sit back and think it's
Little
glamorous.
children that you're raising up. Yeah.
Up and all that. Yeah, I don't think it's glamorous. If you want to do 9 to 5, do your
Yeah.
9 to 5. You know. Yeah.
But even doing 9 to 5 is not easy. Even if it is not your
Oh
own
yes.
business and you still have children and you're doing nine to
Yes.
five, it is still not easy. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They say there's a blessing in every curse, or however they say it. I don't remember, but was very instrumental in introducing remote working,
Yeah.
and everybody started seeing the positive side of actually being able to work and still, you know, deliver what you're supposed to deliver. Um,
Yeah.
would you say that working from home is a more convenient situation, especially for moms, in terms of balancing work life and your family life?
So then I would say it depends on the field you are in. Um, for instance, when COVID-19 happened, I was running my own business. Okay. I started in 2019. COVID-19 happened in 2020. And for the kind of business I ran, it was not a blessing, it was a curse. Because I remember I had landed my first corporate job, like my first corporate contract. Let me put it that way. I was so excited about it, starting fresh and all. And at that time, we had to provide about 6 to 8 cleaners. So I don't even need to mention the amount, but you can imagine it was good money. It was great experience for me. I could put that on my portfolio that I'm cleaning for this big place and all. Then COVID happens and they're like, we can't continue with this, contract. So we would need just one person. So just imagine having about 6 to 8 workers and then all of a sudden one person. So for me, it was a big blow. It was difficult for me. But for
Only one
those some of the
person.
people, yeah. So you can just imagine your income has totally dropped. And then now my residential clients too were also not too comfortable with someone because it's cleaning. So my workers don't live with the clients. They go home and come to the client's house to clean every day. So now the clients are like, I'm not too comfortable with someone going and coming out of my house because of like the disease and all. And it's understandable. So we lost jobs, we lost business. So for us it was difficult. It was a huge blow, but I'm so grateful that we bounced back. But for someone in corporate, especially for mothers, I think it was good because mothers got the chance to bond with their kids. Mothers, or let me just say parents in general, they got the chance to bond with their kids. And after COVID, we realized that it's possible to actually work remotely and still be productive. Then again, like I said, it depends on the
Absolutely.
sector you are in. You get it. My husband, for instance, does this sort of remote hybrid.
Yeah.
Uh, so he works remotely at the same
Yeah.
time. Sometimes he goes to the office, and I've noticed that it's helped a lot because he's there for the kids as well. You get it. He gets to spend more time with the kids. He's able to drop them off before he goes to work. Some days he's even able to pick them up from work. But at the same time, he's productive. You get it? When he needs, when he has to go to the office, he goes to the office. If he can work from home too, he works from home on certain days, and he's productive. It hasn't affected him in any way. But that's because of the sector he finds himself, in. But someone who is, for instance, a banker who's working in the banking hall and dealing with clients every day, I feel like such a person, it will be a bit difficult to say, you should work from home until maybe technology evolves and we get to a point where people can just walk into the bank and they put in their money and you are home and you are watching everything going on. So yeah, it's good, but the balance is important
Yeah.
because then again, I don't think,
Online tellers.
yeah, and the balance is important because I feel like people need to interact with one another. You get it. It helps even with like the way human
Yeah.
human beings were created not to be an island. We know we need each other. So sometimes you are down, but when you come to work and you meet a colleague, you discuss issues with them, they're able to, lift your spirits up and all that. But imagine you are always alone at home, especially when you don't have any family. You get it. So for me, the balance is important. So even if you have to go to
Mm.
work thrice a week and stay home and work, the extra 2 days, I feel like it's something that should be explored. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to productivity. Because if you are not being productive, then you have to go to work so that you are monitored. Yeah.
Obviously, so it's really also very much dependent on the individuals and how they make use of the opportunity that they get, because no employer really likes the work from home thing, especially in the other parts of the world where, for example, where when I was in Ghana where I worked, work from home was not an ideal situation because then you don't see, they were unable to like really monitor activity, but when they are monitored it is better. So yeah, I mean, you said it all right. It's really dependent on the individual and how they are able to make use of
Yeah.
the remote working and be sure to be productive so that it
Mm.
becomes beneficial. So
Yeah.
before we wrap up on 360, I just want to know how 360 is doing currently, and whether you have plans of stepping a notch higher in the business.
Definitely. Definitely. So 360 cleaning services is doing much better than we started. We started in 2019, like I said. So I can't say compared to the number of clients we have now there, we work every day. When we started in 2019, we were not working every day. We depended on like contracts coming in here and there, but now we have permanent clients that we serve every single day. We do residential cleaning, so, and then we also do corporate cleaning sort of in the offices. We also do post construction cleaning and all that. So we work every day. Business is good. Unfortunately, with inflation and everything that's happening, we could have been doing better, but we can't complain much because at least we are still in business. You get it? So business, I would say it's sometimes slow, which is normal. It's
Yeah.
typical because then again, I am a mother, so
But I mean,
sometimes.
so it's okay. I mean, it's still doing good.
Oh
So yeah.
yes, yeah, it's doing good, and we definitely. I believe when I'm done when my kids are old enough, definitely it will give me enough time to focus more on the business now because there wouldn't be any distractions from toddlers and all that. So when I'm able to focus, on 360 cleaning services, we will do better than we are doing. Hopefully we'll come to Canada. Maybe you partner you partner us in Canada. The idea is to not just work in Ghana, like not just here in Ghana, but outside Ghana as well. We have big plans. We have wonderful plans, but I'm not rushing because, like I said, I'm a mother, and for me, being a mother is number one priority. So I love my work. I put in my all every day, but for now, I like the pace at which we are moving because I know the kids will definitely grow, and when they do grow, I will have enough time to focus and put in my all 100% into 360, and then you will hear of us.
Good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Now, as a mom, as a working mom, I'm thinking that there's definitely that challenge of balancing the two that appears from time to time. I have some text messages here coming through, and somebody is saying that I have had so many challenges managing the balance between working and my family life. I have had to quit my job to stay home to make sure that my kids grow a bit before I go back to work. And sometimes it is depressing. What would be your advice to me?
Um,
So somebody has just dropped in a message, and it looks
yeah,
like the person is having a challenge and
yeah.
is bringing vibes of depression. What would you do? You have an answer to that? Any form of
I would,
motivation you can give to
yeah,
this person, this individual?
I would say that I understand very well what this person
Go
is talking
ahead.
about, because when I had my daughter, although I was enjoying the whole time being with her and everything, I always thought about, getting back to work and doing something. I was never comfortable, just being a mother and all that. I enjoyed the whole experience and everything, but I always knew that aside being a mother, I'm an individual. I'm Susie. I have my own dreams and aspirations and all that. So I get where she's coming from, but my advice would be please take it one day at a time. Okay, take it one day at a time. Enjoy what you have now. Enjoy being a mother now. Just and as you are home, also you can, this is the time for you to improve upon yourself. So if you have to take some free online courses, if you have to read more and get yourself prepared so that when the kids are old and the kids are a bit more independent and you step out there, you're not now going to start all over. You're already ready for the market, you know what's like the job market and what's going on. But take one day at a time. And sometimes what we women go through is that we compare ourselves a lot to other people. So probably you are looking at someone who has, like I was saying, some people think, oh, it's all glamorous because I have a family, I have a business and all that, but it isn't. So we need to learn to stop comparing ourselves to other people and just move one day at a time. How do you call it? Enjoy what you have now. If it's the children, enjoy your experience with them right now, because when they grow up you will miss them, and that's the truth. When you ask people that are older than us, they will tell you that sometimes when you look back you would miss them being kids and all that. So please don't get depressed. If there's anything you can do to get your mind off the fact that you are missing work and all that, please do. But please don't be depressed. Just take one day at a time, and whilst you are home with the kids, do something to improve upon yourself so that when you get out into the job market, you are ready for it. Yeah, that's basically what I would say.
Mm, mm. Well said. Another text message coming in is saying that it seems that when it comes to working, balancing work and family life, it seems that it affects only the women because the women are the only ones that are to compromise. The men don't get to compromise in this scenario. I have been affected so many times. I've had to change so many jobs just because I am trying to balance my work life and my family life, and I feel like giving up.
Um,
This Susie, did you hear that one? Did you hear this
yes, I
one?
did. Yes, I did. So it's true, okay, but it helps when you have a very supportive partner. So I think for women, the onus lies on us when choosing partners to make sure we choose the right partners. Because when you have a very supportive partner, yes, definitely you take a lot of the, like, most of the burden because you are the mother, and that's just how nature has made it. Okay, you grow this baby, you birth this baby and all that, and when the baby comes out there, there's already a bond that has been built. Bear in mind that with the fathers, I always say that it's when the baby comes out and that they begin to build like a bond with the baby. But for us, it starts from the womb. So we are definitely going to be number one in the kids' lives. But when you have a supportive partner, it sometimes helps. If you're able to speak to your partner and explain to your partner that, look, I need your help here, I need you to assist here. And another mistake we make is sometimes we feel like we have to do everything all by ourselves, but we don't have to. If you can afford it and you can get help, please get help from someone, from somewhere. Like in Ghana, we are privileged to have parents who would take in our kids and help us, when we are busy and all that. Even sometimes your siblings will do that. But if you have to employ a nanny, please, if you can afford the service of a nanny, a babysitter, and all that, like go ahead and do it. But I don't know, maybe one day things will change. But for now, mothers, we are always going to be the very first person the baby would depend on and all that. In certain cases, it's the opposite, but we all know it's rare. Most of the time, it's we the women. So please, if you have a partner and you can speak to your
Mhm.
partner to be more supportive and helpful, please do. If you can't and you can seek
That's
help,
bearing
please
the
do.
brand. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true.
Sorry.
So now the Voices of the Millennials is the platform that gives the opportunity for millennials to express their concerns and all of that. So in wrapping up on this millennial out there that is just about to walk into the corporate life and then going to face all of these steps in life where family life and work will definitely need to be balanced. What will be your final advice to these individuals as they just get into the corporate life to start life and face the challenge of balancing work and family life?
I think it's important to be patient. Okay. And I remember there was one thing that sorry. I remember there was one thing that my first boss told me. She was like, when you land your first job, okay, take your time and study and learn as much as you can. Don't be in a hurry, don't be in a rush to move on to like the next job. So maybe you land your first job, you work there for a year, and then you get that, oh, there's another opportunity somewhere that's going to pay you more. Don't just rush into it. Be interested in learning, gaining experience from where you are. If possible, try and get a mentor in the field you are in. Okay, because when you are young, you're not just thinking of now. You are planning the future, you are planning for the future, you're thinking of the future. So don't just think of what I'm going to get now, think about the future. So seek advice. It's something we usually don't do. When we finish school, we think we are all grown, we know it all and all that, and it's all about the money, money, money. Money is good, okay? Money is good. We all know that. But seek advice, take your time when you land your first job, learn as much as you can, be inquisitive, ask questions, build confidence there. Be a master of what of your field and all that before you step out. My boss told me, look, her first job, she stayed there for how many years? For a couple of years. Then from there, she didn't even have to look for a job. She was always being poached. So she'll go here today, make an impact 2 3 years, maximum 5 years, and she was like, even that it was rare. Okay. I remember the minute she left the company I was at, the next day she told me she landed a job the next day. That's how sought after, she was. And that's because she had gained enough experience. You get it. She had built a portfolio, so now she was sought after. So please, let's not rush. Let's take our time and gather all the experience that we can gather and seek advice from the right people, especially when we get to the workplaces. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Now, and also, apart from gaining the experience, I also believe that you need to stay focused and determined as well. And
Yeah,
of course, choosing the right partner is definitely going to give you that backing, that backbone that you need to be able
yeah.
to pause, if it is pause your dreams and aspiration for a bit just to grow your family, you will
Yeah.
still always be able to be set right back on track to be able to
Yeah.
continue whatever aspiration that you had. It
Yeah.
motherhood or family life is not the end of the road. If
No,
you have the
it's the
best
beginning.
partner, it is
Yeah.
actually the beginning, because that is where you get the support. Susie, what do you do to relax in the midst of all this, work, family? What do you do to relax?
So, so before I answer that, I just wanted to add on to what you said about finding a good partner. The period where I wasn't working, if I did not have a supportive partner, I think I would have also been depressed. But I had a very supportive partner who knew I wasn't working at that time and knew I was sacrificing to take care of our
Sure, go
kid.
ahead. Go
So
ahead.
he encouraged me. He gave me all the support, and even now with me running my business, he's like my backbone. Because anytime I deliver or I give birth, I hand things over to him, and I can trust him. Although he has his own work and everything, he still supports me. He still.
Okay, it looks like we've lost Susie. Like I did say, we are experiencing a little technical hitch, but we are working to resolve that. But I mean, this is Voices of the Millennials, where we have the most judicious, interesting, informative, and educative shows, conversations, and we do that because we want to inspire you as millennials and make sure that whatever you set yourself to do, it is successful and it is in the right path. Susie, we lost you for a minute. Will you complete your
Yes,
statement?
yes. Oh, yes. I think I'm done. I was just adding, on to having a supportive partner. I think it's very important. So for young people who aren't married yet, who don't have,
Oh,
when choosing a
okay,
partner,
okay, sure. So
is
thank you very yeah, thank
yeah.
you very
And
much
you
for
were
joining
asking
us
what I
today.
do.
It
Sure.
hasn't been smooth because of the technical hitches, but
Yeah.
Susie, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you. Repeat yourself.
I was answering your last question. What I do to relax? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I was asking you what you do to relax. Yes, yes.
I
I can hear
sleep.
you now. Yes, I can hear you now.
I sleep. I sleep. That's what I do. I listen to music and then I sleep.
You sleep.
Yes, I sleep. I don't joke with my
That's
sleep, honestly.
amazing. That's a great form of relaxation, because actually sleep replenishes your strength, isn't it?
Yes, it does. So I don't joke with my sleep. Especially when you have toddlers and you get the chance, please
Mm,
sleep. Yes, sleep.
you need to sleep. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. I was
Well,
saying
thank you.
to
Thank you
the
for having
listeners
me.
that hasn't been very smooth, but I mean, we still got whatever information that we needed from this conversation of, balancing work and family life. We might have to, do a part two of this so that we can delve deep into, some of the experiences that you have had as a
Yeah.
mother, as a corporate woman, and somebody in business, running your own business and everything, and especially as your children grow older, those that are just
Yeah.
starting the journey can get a lot of advice from
Mm.
you with regards to this. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you.
Listeners,
Thank
this
you
is the
for
Voices
having
of the
me.
Millennials. As you know, our Voices of the Millennials Summit is coming off July 13th, and we are excited to have you come our way to be able to make this summit a success. As you already know, there are scholarships to be won. So you need to do your best by sending your application if you need the scholarship. And I know you do need the scholarship. So if you do need the scholarship, do send your applications to our email, that is infolavebay@gmail.com, or you can call us. No, infolavebay@gmail.com is where you send your applications to. It is an essay. All you have to do is to basically write an essay explaining why you need the scholarship, and also do let us know the volunteer work that you have done as a student, what you have done, as well as your academics will be some points to give you, to be able to win the scholarship for yourself at the Voices of the Millennial Summit. All students, you can register on Eventbrite. Just register on there to participate in the event, and as well to register your interest in getting that scholarship opportunity if you really need it. You can also call us on 437-778-3299 if you want to sponsor the VOM Summit. This is our third edition, and we are promising you that we are going to go bigger and better. If you do want to sponsor us, kindly do contact the office. Call us on the numbers that I have mentioned. They will be rolling on the screen as well if you are watching on our Facebook platforms and our social media platforms. The show promises to be beautiful, it promises to be educative, and if you need that scholarship, please, we want to be able to give out scholarships to deserving students, and we don't want anybody to be left out. That is why we are insisting that you do send that application, that essay, and tell us why you need that scholarship, and we will judge this and give it to deserving students. The summit is going to happen on the 13th of July. The theme is Be the Light Youth Summit, and 13th of July, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. It is a free event. I mean, if you register on Eventbrite, you come on, you get your ticket on there. So it's a free event. And we will have a lot in store for you. Great and amazing speakers are going to be featuring this summit. And there's a lot, so much more to learn from this very interesting summit. We are also going to have the recreational side, entertainment. We have amazing dancers that will be coming to entertain us, putting up amazing dance performances. All of the dance moves that you want to learn, that you are admiring on social media, that you would want to, try your feet on. We are getting those dancers to come and give us a good show. So you don't want to miss out on the Voices of the Millennials Summit that is happening on the 13th of July, 2024. You need to be there to be a part of this very important summit. And I will be there as well. So I can't wait to see you at the summit. Thank you so much for joining us on the Voices of the Millennials tonight. Thank you, Sussie, again. I hope that we did bring you, the kind of information and education that you needed on this topic, work life and balancing the two with family life. We will do a part two most definitely. And I hope that you will join us for that. So stay tuned to our next episode, and we will continue to explore issues, that matter the most to our generation. Remember that your voice matters, your story is important, and together we will build a good and great generation. My name is Annamaria Emisa. I was your host. Be well. Thank you.